A very good evening to all my students. And there I see all my students already present here, and I am glad that आप लोग यहाँ महाराष्ट्र स्टेट बोर्ड के सेशंस अटेंड करने के लिए वेदांतु के कॉमर्स चैनल पर आ चुके हो. Thank you for being there, but I would also like to share one piece of information which is very important. मतलब आप आए हो तो हम थोड़ा सा ज्ञानबाजी भी कर लेते हैं. प्लीज कीप योर सेल्फ हेल्दी, फिट, फाइन, हैव योर मास्क्स ऑन व्हेनेवर यू आर आउट, एंड इफ नॉट रिक्वायर्ड डोंट मूव आउट. Stay home, stay safe. I know सुन के you must have got bored, but please stay home and stay safe. Now, before we move ahead, I would like to just give you the information that today we are talking about secretarial practice Aakaar batches, that is SYJC of Maharashtra State Board. Topic is issue of shares, where today we are going to discuss what are shares and what are the various methods of issuing the shares to public. अब आज का मेरा schedule और पूरे वेदांतु चैनल का schedule is right here in front of you. 5 o'clock with me, your Master Teacher Sheetal Katkade, 6 o'clock with Sriraj sir, 7 o'clock with Sheetal Chaudhary ma'am, and 9 o'clock with Mansi Turkla ma'am. So this is the schedule for today. But if you do not want to come here and then get to know about the schedule, but already be aware of it, ting 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 notification agar chahiye, to all you need to do is like, share and subscribe. Superb. So now let's begin and understand issue of shares, which stands to be chapter number 3. Fatafat get ready, because I want you to be ready with your notebooks. Kyun ma'am? Why notebooks today? Again, because in this chapter we are going to have a detailed understanding of different ways of issuing the shares, different types of issuing of the shares. So we always have been listening about subscription, shares, joint stock company, but आज वो दिन finally आ ही गया, where we are going to discuss about what, when, where about these shares. चलो, if you all are all ready, अच्छा जी, if you are all ready, let me give you the learning outcomes for today, and the learning outcomes are going to be issue of shares and the methods for issuing of the shares. चलो, आगे दौड़ते हैं with understanding what is this share. Give me simple question का answer. Very simple question. Why will any company or why would any company may need the capital? एक कंपनी को कैपिटल की जरूरत क्या होती है? चलो, tell me quickly. Why would one require any kind of capital? Of course, there are different reasons for a company to need the capital, of which the basic one is about कि a company is starting up with a new project. कंपनी एक नया प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट कर रही है and it's going to require finances, and that's where we say a company might need capital. Another reason is कि भाई कंपनी ऑलरेडी स्टार्ट हो चुकी थी, लेकिन it had some कर्जा upon it, some debts to be cleared to repay any of its old debts. And if there is good amount of time company शुरू होके हो चुका है, कोई कर्जा भी नहीं है, so certainly company is doing good, and company might need the funds to have its expansion happening or its diversification happening. So these are the reasons where a company is going to need capital. Chalo, we understood why would we need the capital. Now the question is, how do we arrange for this capital? So there are again ways to arrange for the capital. The very easiest way is by taking loans, but that's not the only way. Loans के अलावा a company can also have its capital arranged by issuing of the shares, by issuing of debentures, by issuing of bonds, and a few other ways. अब ये सब क्या है? Sources of business finance, corporate finance, we've already understood what are all these things. When I am talking about issuing of shares, that is by selling of the shares, it simply means that I am going to either give preferential shares or maybe equity shares, which are also addressed as ordinary shares, to my subscribers. So today's target is about the shares. So when we say issuing of shares, it is nothing but selling of shares. And what is this share? I mean, what kind of shares are we talking about? So then we are talking about preference shares या तो फिर equity या ordinary shares. So equity shares को हम ordinary shares के हिसाब से भी समझ सकते हैं. So now I have understood why would a company need funds. I have also understood how is a company going to arrange for the funds. Let's understand the various methods of one of the method of funds. मतलब funds के जरिए तो बहुत सारे थे. We had multiple options. Issuing of shares is what we are discussing today. And issuing of shares कैसे होता है? How does a company issue these shares? Has multiple ways. Methods for issuing of shares. I hope everybody is ready. Oh my Savita, itna bada high. Hi. So the various methods may. The very first method that comes for issuing of shares is public offer. Second way is existing equity shareholders को offer करना. Third is existing employees को offer करना. And lastly, it's by issuing of shares with the mechanism of private placements. So come on, quickly tell me, how many methods do we have for having issue of shares? 1 या 2 या 3 या 4? What I completely see here is there are 4 ways. Public offer, issuing to the existing equity shareholders, issuing it to the existing employees, and last but not the least, the private placement. Of course, हर एक को हम carefully इस session में पढ़ने वाले हैं. But as of now, understand that these are the 4 methods. Let's begin with the first method, that is public offer. What do we mean by public offer? Public offer या public issue means making the shares available to the public. Offer to the public, public offer. Issuing of the shares to the public, public issue. So public issue or public offer means offering the shares to the public. This is the most common method which is used by a lot of companies. The company invites the public to subscribe for its shares by issuing of the prospectus. Formation of a company, we've already understood that each company who wants to have equity shares being subscribed, they need to maintain a document which is called as prospectus, which has the complete information about the company, about the shares, about the past, about the future, everything, and the management, of course. So the companies would invite for the subscription by issuing the prospectus to the public, and post this it might have fixed price issue method used or book building method used for having the subscription. So quickly, I want you all to give me the answer in the comment section कि एक public offer is offering the shares to the general public by how many methods, and which are those methods? मेरे हिसाब से the answer is already there on the slide. Come on, quickly tell me that invite to the public is done by which methods if I am talking about public offer. Of course, we are talking about fixed price issue method and book building method. अब आप बोलोगे मैम इसका क्या मतलब है? What do you mean by fixed price or what do you mean by book building? चलो, let's understand again each of them in detail. The very first way is fixed price, price which is fixed, है ना? So under this method, the company will mention in the prospectus the quantity, the number of units of the shares and the price at which these shares are to be offered to the public. बोले तो क्या? कितना shares are available and each share would be available for what price? This information is already there in the prospectus. तभी तो हम बोल रहे ना fixed price issue. The price of the shares and the quantity of the shares is already decided and it's mentioned into the prospectus as well. Remember, this prospectus is given to the public. The public or the investors or the subscribers are asked to pay a certain amount of the face value of the shares, or maybe entire issue price along with the application. Again, in the time of studying the formation of a company, I remember मैंने पढ़ा था कि when prospectus is given, people are informed that they will have to fill an application form. उस application form में they will have to mention what is the number of units that they wish to buy, and there is a price for each unit already given. तो मान लो one share is for 10 rupees. I want to buy 100 units. 100 shares into 10. कितना होगा? 1000. अब this 1000 becomes the entire issue price. I as a subscriber, I as an investor has two options. Either I pay complete 1000 rupees and apply and try to get those units on my name, become a subscriber, become a shareholder, या तो फिर I pay only the application amount, which is 25% of the actual amount. So 1000 rupees for 25% becomes what? 1000 rupees for 25%, which is 250 rupees. So I would require 250 rupees with me जो मुझे pay करना है, and then I can wait for the shares to be allotted. अभी allotment and all that I am not going to discuss. This you already know, and you can go and revise it from the last year's chapters. अब I have understood that the subscribers can pay full amount or only the application amount as per the face value. Furthermore, the company gets to know how many people and what is the total quantity of the shares that people are interested in subscribing. There you go. The company gets to know the demand of its shares, but this is only after the window for subscription when closes. Again, connecting with the previous part, हमने already पढ़ा हुआ है that the window is open for 3 to 5 days. तो अगर the window is open and people are applying, तो जब window close हो जाएगी, the company gets to know how many people have requested, what quantity of shares have been requested, and the demand can easily be understood. What's up, Aakaar? Next, the company can issue the shares at par or premium. What do you mean by at par or at premium? When I say at par, same price, मतलब जो प्राइस प्रोस्पेक्टस में लिखा हुआ है, जो प्राइस मार्केट वैल्यू, जो प्राइस में तुम खरीद रहे हो एंड जो प्राइस में कंपनी बेच रही है, इट्स गोइंग टू बी सेम. 10 rupees 1 unit, 10 rupees is what you pay for it. At premium is when the company charges more. Now premium वाला केस ऐसा ना, only high class companies can afford to sell their shares at premium. नई कंपनी को कौन ही शेयर प्रीमियम पे खरीदेगा, unless and until it is an exclusive product. We don't like to pay anything extra, है ना. ब्रांड का पैसा हम देने के लिए रेडी होते हैं. Similarly, if the company is really that great, if the company has got that market goodwill, only then it can have its subscription coming up with the premium subscription tag. So a company has a scope of having the issue done at par, that is equal, or at premium, that is a price more than the face value. So if a share is for 10 rupees, the company may charge say 11 rupees for it. That's where we say that 1 rupee is the premium amount, and that's how at par and at premium is what a company can have the subscription happening. Now, book building method क्या बोलता है? अब ये कहाँ है हम लोग? Let me quickly connect with what we were studying. We spoke about issuing of shares के method 4 थे. उसमें से first one was public issue. Public issue में there were 2 methods, fixed price issue and book building method. So now here we are with the book building method. What happens here? Under this method, the issuer company is going to identify the number of shares and the issue price at which its shares will be sold, but दिस टाइम बाय बिडिंग प्रोसेस. तो बिडिंग होगा, बिड्स लगेंगे, मतलब इट्स गोइंग टू बी लाइक आप अपना प्राइस बताओ, आप अपना बताओ, आप अपना बताओ. तो फिर फाइनल प्राइस किसका होगा? लेट्स डिस्कस दैट एज वेल. The company issues a red herring prospectus which contains the price range and asks the investors to bid upon it. चलो इसको 2 मिनट के लिए साइड में रखते हैं. The typical Bollywood movies, ऐसा पुराने जमाने का we've seen, no? That they'll be having bidding happening. घर गिरवी रखा था, अब बेचना पड़ेगा, तो अब there is going to be this meeting, people are sitting there and this government official is going to say इस घर की कीमत की बिडिंग शुरू होती है 5 लाख रुपए से. तो वो जमाने की बात कर रही हूँ जब बंगलोज वर अवेलेबल फॉर 5 lakhs and 7 lakhs. तो 5 lakhs would be the minimum price, and then of course it can go on and on and on as per what the buyers will keep on bidding. तो जितना ज्यादा बायर उसमें इंटरेस्टेड होगा उतना हायर प्राइस बायर देने के लिए तैयार होता है. Something on the similar grounds, there is bidding happening for the shares as well. But the only difference is here the price range, the band, the minimum price and the maximum price is already decided. So anything between that is what the investors will have to bid. The lower end, जो सबसे लोवेस्ट प्राइस होती है कि इसके ऊपर से ही यू विल हैव टू स्टार्ट हैविंग द प्राइस कमिंग अप, दैट इज बेसिकली द फ्लोर प्राइस. While the price which has to be considered as the highest price is called as the ceiling, मतलब अपने सर के ऊपर ceiling, so the ceiling price or the cap price. And the price at which the shares are offered to these investors is going to be the cutoff price, cutoff final price. So 5 rupees is what we were thinking of the minimum price, 7 rupees is what we thought of the maximum price, and then maximum people are willing to buy it at 6 rupees 75 paise. ठीक है, so cutoff price is going to be 6 rupees 75 paise. So floor price 5 rupees, cap या ceiling price 7 rupees, and the cutoff price, the final price at which the shares are offered, is going to be the cutoff price. So in this example that we just spoke about, it is 6 rupees 75 paisa. अब 75 पैसा नहीं, actually not 75 पैसा, 6 rupees से 50 पैसा. Okay, I hope this is clear to all my students, and now we move ahead to understand something in detail about this book building method. अब book building में भी there are 2 types. Quickly again छोटू सा flashback. Issuing के 4 methods. 4 methods में से first method was talking about public issue या public offering. Public offering में there were 2 ways. One was fixed price issue, second one was book building. Book building का 2 ways. 2 ways में the first one talks about IPO. And what's an IPO? Initial public offer is an IPO. Initial public offer मतलब the process of making the shares available to the investors, to the subscribers, to the public, but for the first time by that particular company. So any company which is going to have its shares listed for the first time need to have the allotment of shares by IPO method of book building. After the IPO, the company once when gets registered, the company once when is listed, then it will have its shareholders and its shares listed, and then the investors are free to have their shares traded in the market. अब सवाल ये उठता है कि मैम IPO तो इज द फर्स्ट टाइम थिंग. ठीक है, कंपनी ने स्टार्ट किया, कंपनी ने IPO दिया, IPO के लेने के बाद आई एम हैविंग 1000 शेयर्स ऑफ द कंपनी. अब I want to trade upon them. तो मैं क्या करूं? Because now तो IPO तो is for the initial process. What after that? Subsequent के लिए what do we have? We have FPO. FPO बोलेगा तो when the company is going to issue the shares to the public after IPO, that is the follow on issue of shares to the public. FPO से क्या होगा? Any shares that I had purchased in the IPO allotment will now be traded. So it's going to help in having capital generated. And that is how we understand that book building method is IPO method, initial public method, issued shares of that company which is issuing its shares for the very first time. And after that, the subsequent issues or the subscriptions will come under the second method of book building, that is FPO. And FPO is nothing but further, or you could say the follow on public offer. I hope this is clear to all of you, and if it is clear, all you need to write is bingo in the comment section. Chalo jaldi jaldi. Cool. Now let's move ahead to the next method. So public offer ho gaya. Second method, offering shares to the existing equity shareholders. Matlab, this is about making the equity shareholders made available with few additional options of purchasing or buying or transacting on the shares. तो ये वो शेयर होल्डर्स है जिनके पास ऑलरेडी अपने कंपनी के शेयर्स तो हैं, but yet there is an offering done to them. What? Why? Who? Let's look into that. The first type of offering to the existing equity shareholders is the bonus issue. Bonus shares are fully paid shares issued free of cost to the existing equity shareholders in proportion to their shareholdings. Wow, एक वर्ड तो मुझे हिट कर गया, that was fully paid shares issued free. मैम what does that mean? It simply means, देखो नेक्स्ट पार्ट में क्या लिखा है, इन प्रपोर्शन टू देयर शेयर होल्डिंग्स. इन प्रपोर्शन टू द शेयर होल्डिंग्स बोले तो इफ आई हैव 1000 यूनिट्स ऑफ अ पर्टिकुलर कंपनी, ओके, मेरे पास किसी कंपनी के 1000 शेयर्स ऑलरेडी अवेलेबल है and company is planning for a bonus issue. Company will have a ratio discussed in the board meeting, and this ratio के basis पर company is going to give these bonus shares free of cost to the equity shareholders. So I had 1000, my mom had 100, my brother has 10, and you have 500. Wow. And the company says for every 10 shares we will give you 1 share. मतलब if somebody has got 10 shares उसको 1 share free में मिला. If somebody is having 20 shares उसको 2 shares free में मिले. If somebody is having 100 shares, then that person will get 10 shares free. I suppose have 1000 shares, I am going to get 100 shares free. So bonus issue is done to those shareholders who are existing shareholders, and in a proportion to their existing shareholdings they are offered the bonus shares. लेकिन कहानी में ट्विस्ट ये है कि remember when I said in the beginning of the class, you have an option at the time of application to have your shares being applied for either by full payment or by paying only the application money. So these shares will be made available only to those people जिन्होंने कोई उधारी नहीं रखी है, जिसका हिसाब पूरा क्लियर है. So any you could say shareholder who has purchased the shares and paid all the dues of those shares, fully paid up, कोई उधारी नहीं बाकी है, only such kind of shareholders would be considered for issuing of bonus shares. फ्री है लेकिन कंडीशन भी है. With this, we move to the next type, that is the right issue. Now, the existing equity shareholders are given the right issue shares, which means that the existing equity shareholders are again made some shares available with respect to their current shareholding, but this time it is not free. When a company wants to raise further capital, it issues shares to the existing equity shareholder in proportion to their existing shareholding. Such an issue is called as the right issue of the shares. लेकिन right issue of the share का सीन ऐसा है that these shares are offered by the company to the current shareholders, but they have the option. They are given the priority. The existing equity shareholders have preemptive rights to subscribe to the new shares offered by the company. So यहाँ पर दो चीजें हैं. They have the right, preemptive rights बोले तो a right to be considered first, priority. तो अगर एक कंपनी को शेयर्स इशू करने हैं तो कंपनी अंडर राइट issue of shares will first ask the existing shareholders, okay guys, do you want, y'all are my current shareholders, so do you want to purchase the shares, do you want to subscribe for the new issue? And for all those people who agree to it, fair enough. All those people who do not agree, those shares would be then made available to the public. Is this clear to y'all? I just hope this is clear to each one of you. अब provisions for right issue, conditions for the right issue क्या है? Solding is going to be of these existing equity shareholders को, these equity shares are going to be sold. Right issue की बात कर रहे हैं ना हम लोग. So they are going to be sold. They are not free, but they are going to be sold at a price which is lower than the market price. So existing shareholders अगर आप हो तो अगर market में if the shares are issued at 10 rupees, then you will get it for a lesser value than the market price. A company has to send a letter of offer. Offer कर रहे हैं ना right issue. Are you interested is what they are going to ask. So the letter of offer to the existing shareholders at the time of issuing of shares is sent. अब ये letter of offer का क्या है मतलब? It means a letter which will have the number of shares which are to be offered under right issue, the time period while this offer is going to be true, मतलब they would say for next 15 days or next 20 days or maybe next 1 month के अंदर ही अंदर you are supposed to give us your consent. So if you agree तो हाँ बोलो, if you not agreeing तो ना बोलो, but let us know your consent, the period for which this offer is valid. And the right to renounce. The right to renounce is available with the right issue to the equity shareholders, that is to sell off their shares or to trade upon their shares. So the right to renounce is mentioned, the period of offer is mentioned, and the number of shares which are to be offered is mentioned in the letter of offer. The letter of offer is made available to the public by a registered post, speed post, courier, or by emails or maybe by any other electronic medium. So email हो सकता है, they can send it through the application only PDF file में. So these are the ways in which this letter of offer is made available to the public. Moving ahead, if the shareholder does not respond to the right issue within the given time, the period of offer. So period of offer जो भी है, अगर उस time frame में the existing equity shareholder does not respond, it is understood, it is taken for granted that this shareholder is not interested and the company can offer these shares now to the new investors. तो अगर आपने अपना consent दिया that yes, I am interested in having the subscription for right issue, then pay the amount lesser than the market price and get those shares on your name. But if you do not respond, if you do not pass on your consent, then company बोलेगा ठीक है, टाटा बाय बाय, see you, you be happy with your existing shareholdings. These new shares we would pass on to the new investors. That's about the right issue provision. Now talking about the provisions for bonus issue. This is basically about having the shares given free of cost, if you remember. So it cannot issue bonus shares. Any company cannot issue this bonus shares instead of paying dividends. आप free में दे रहे हो, है ना? लेकिन जब आप free में कोई चीज दे रहे हो, तो you cannot compromise on payment of dividend to the preference shareholders or to the existing equity shareholders. तो पहले dividend clear करो. Then if you are still having something with you, then you can think of paying the bonus shares. But it cannot be, the bonus shares cannot be issued instead of paying the dividend. Dividend पहले clear करना जरूरी है. Moving ahead, a company can issue bonus shares only out of, there is a criteria, provisions की बात कर रहे हैं ना. So what is the criteria? Bonus shares अगर issue करना है, तो the very first thing is जो भी free reserves available हैं, जो भी free reserves available है, you remember plowing back of the profits, retained earnings, the savings that the company holds with itself, वो free reserves में से आ सकता है. Remember I said that the company, if is having that great goodwill in the market, it may sell its shares at premium price. तो 10 rupees का share was sold at 11 rupees. वो 1 rupee which was the premium amount, that is to be maintained in a separate account, and that account is securities premium account. तो जब कंपनी प्रीमियम पर शेयर्स अलॉट करेगी, जब कंपनी मार्केट प्राइस से ज्यादा प्राइस पर लोगों को शेयर्स अलॉट करेगी, उस टाइम पर जितना भी अमाउंट, whatsoever the amount has been collected as the premium amount is to be kept in a special account, that is securities premium account. So any amount which is collected in the securities premium account, that can be used for issuing of the bonus shares. Furthermore, capital redemption reserve account. So any kind of redemption of the capital which the company had with itself can be used for having the bonus issue happening. So these are the three ways out of which the bonus shares can be made available. A company cannot issue bonus shares only out of the reserves created by revaluation of assets. So company's got assets, okay. Company might not need few assets or might sell some assets to buy some new assets or whatever it is. But अगर company अपने assets को revaluation के through जो भी पैसे बना रही है, of that capital, if the company is planning to have bonus issue happening, then again that is not allowed. There is no provision for the funds coming from revaluation of the assets. Next provision says that once the board of directors have announced कि भाई we are issuing bonus issue, then they cannot deny, मुंह कर नहीं सकते कि अरे नहीं वो तभी we had spoken about it but we are sorry we cannot do that now. No. Once declared, you cannot withdraw the decision. You will certainly compulsorily have to issue the bonus issue. Bonus shares are fully paid up shares. Like I have already mentioned this to you all while explaining bonus issue. यहाँ पर we do not have to pay anything, and this is free of cost to the existing equity shareholders. But most importantly, the term that you have to pay attention is bonus shares are fully paid up shares. Shares cannot be reannounced. बोले तो like when I spoke about right issue, the equity shareholders could retrade upon it. bonus issue per trading is not allowed in the first place. These are free of cost now, so renouncing is not possible. With this, we come to the last provision for bonus issue, that is, there is no minimum subscription to be collected. If you remember, actual subscription mein, the companies are given minimum subscription amount to be collected. But a bonus issue is free of cost made available to the existing equity shareholders. तो ऐसे टाइम पर there is no minimum subscription to be proved by the company. And with this, we've completed the provisions of bonus issue. And also we've completed two types, and now we move to the third type of issuing of equity shares. What is it? Offering the shares to the existing employees. It's not actually equity shareholders, it's going to be the employees. Now what happens here? Sorry, there is an error here and we need to understand that it is basically the employees here. One second. I'll just fix that up. Please make a note, my dear students. This is not about existing equity shareholders. This is about the existing employees. Now, the very first option for having this made available to the existing employees is ESOS, Employee Stock Option Scheme. What is this Employee Stock Option Scheme? बताते हैं यार. Under the scheme, permanent employees, all those employees who are permanent employees, not the contractual or not those employees who are, for a temporary period or as interns or something like that, freelancers वगैरह ऐसे employees नहीं. Those employees who are on the payroll of the company are not outsourced but on the payroll of the company, permanent employees, the directors, the officers of the company or any of the holding company, मतलब एक कंपनी के नाम से जो छोटी छोटी कंपनीज चलती है, होल्डिंग कंपनी या सब्सिडरी कंपनी, are offered the benefit or given the right to purchase equity shares of the company at a future date but for a price which is fixed today. Oh, यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है? All those people who are the employees, permanent वाले, directors or the officers or are the person or the companies of a subsidiary of the main company. So the employees, the directors, the officers or the people of these subsidiaries are allowed to have these equity shares purchased for a price, but this price is decided today. मतलब stock market में जो price दिखता है, we are not going to talk about that. We would be having a price defined and decided today, and these people will buy it later on a specified date. That is ESOS, Employee Stock Option Scheme. Moreover, ESOS से क्या फायदा होगा? The employees will feel connected with the company, they would feel proud and they would feel that they are also the owners of the company. आप बोलोगे owner कैसा मैम? These people तो are the employees. But beta, tell me one thing. Have we not discussed this, that the employees, be it not the employees, sorry, the shareholders, be it as an employee or a director or any outsider, but if the person is the shareholder, certainly the shareholders are the owners of the company, so this employee will also become the owner of the company. So ESOS will encourage employees as they feel proud to be the owners of the company, and if you are the owner of the company, you know कि if you work better, तुम्हारी कंपनी का गुडविल, तुम्हारी कंपनी का प्रॉफिट्स होगा, एंड कंपनी का प्रॉफिट्स मतलब तुम्हारी कंपनी का शेयर वैल्यू बढ़ेगा, एंड शेयर वैल्यू बढ़ेगा अगर कंपनी का, तो भाई तुम्हारा भी तो वैल्यूएशन बढ़ रहा है ना, तुम्हारे भी तो इक्विटी शेयर्स का प्राइस बढ़ेगा. That is where ESOS comes into picture to motivate the employees. So this is one of the ways of offering equity shares to the employees. Another way of And oh sorry, there are some provisions for the employee stock option scheme. ये कैसे भूल गए हम? What are the provisions? Let's understand that. A company may offer the shares directly to the employees or through an employee welfare trust. Directly employees को दिया जा सकता है या employees के नाम पर it is maintained in a trust. And what is the name of the trust? The name of the trust is Employee Welfare Trust. Moving ahead, the shares of the offered price would be lesser than the market price, like discussed earlier. There is a minimum vesting period of 1 year. एक साल तक you will have to have the holding of ESOS. You cannot trade upon them. You cannot have your rights diluted on these equity shares. आप उसको बेच के सब free नहीं हो सकते. You will have to have vesting period of 1 year. Vesting नहीं है, vesting period of 1 year. The shares under the scheme do not enjoy any dividend. The employees would not get dividend. The employees will not be having any voting rights until the employees are going to buy the shares. मतलब just because company has allotted, it's not the case that you would be given dividend or you would be allowed to vote. Unless and until you do not buy these shares. मतलब shares तो है मेरे पास, but जब तक मैं उसको खरीद ना लूं, अब कैसा होता है ना, कंपनी would put some shares on my name in say welfare trust. मेरे नाम पर तो है लेकिन I cannot trade upon them, है ना. And the day I want to or the day I decide I want to trade upon them, it means that now I would become the equity shareholder and now I will get my dividend henceforth and also be allowed to vote. But इसके लिए 1 year का vesting period होता है. 1 साल के बाद ही तुम ये सब कर सकते हो. Furthermore, the company has to get the approval of the existing shareholders through a special resolution. एक रेजोल्यूशन पास होगा जहां पर वोटिंग होगी एंड वोटिंग में अगर more than 75% of the shareholders agree that okay, ESOS can be allowed, employee stock option scheme हम execute कर सकते हैं, only then it would be issued to the existing employees. Next, employee cannot transfer his option to another person nor, सबसे पहला condition, cannot transfer to another person. It's not allowed. Second, they cannot pledge or mortgage. Pledge or mortgage मतलब आप गिरवी नहीं रख सकते हो. You cannot say भाई you keep these ESOS का certificates or maybe you keep this document with you and then you give me a loan against it. Not allowed. Nor can you say ये तू रख ले और उसके अगेंस्ट मेरे को इतने पैसे दे दे, ये तू तेरे लिए रख ले और मेरे को दे दे करके. No, you cannot do that. ना ही आप उसको मॉर्गेज कर सकते हो, ना ही आप उसको प्लेज कर सकते हो, ना ही आप किसी के नाम पर उसको ट्रांसफर कर सकते हो. Furthermore, when I am talking about existing employees, the second way is employee stock purchase scheme. So, employee stock purchase scheme is that scheme where the company is going to offer the equity shares but at a discounted price that they can buy at a future date. The company, ESOS में कंपनी सैलरी में से कुछ डिडक्ट नहीं कर रही थी, बट ESPS परचेज कर रहे हो ना आप यहाँ पर. सो परचेसिंग स्कीम में you will have to pay. The advantage is of course that you are getting at a discounted price, but you will have to pay for those purchases and this pay is done. The payment can be deducted from the salaries of the employees with respect to whatever amount is to be paid. So if an employee chooses to purchase shares worth rupees 10,000, तो उसकी सैलरी में से वो 10,000 rupees में भी वन टाइम में भी इन सम पार्शियल पेमेंट्स डिडक्ट किया जाएगा. That is ESPS. Now let's understand the provisions. The first provision, different number of shares can be offered to different categories of different types of employees. So not every employee will have the same allotment or the same amount purchased. So कोई employee बोलेगा मुझे सिर्फ 10,000 रुपए के चाहिए, कोई बोलेगा मुझे सिर्फ 1,000 रुपए के चाहिए, कोई employee बोलेगा मुझे 25,000 रुपए के चाहिए. Different employees can be having different offers made. Shares issued through ESPS should be immediately listed on the stock exchange. जैसे ही परचेस होएगा वैसे ही they need to be on the stock exchange. ESPS shares will have a minimum 1 year का lock-in period from its allotment if the ESPS is not a part of a public issue. अगर पब्लिक इशू नहीं है, यू नो द पब्लिक ऑफरिंग जो हमने ऑलरेडी पढ़ा फर्स्ट मेथड, तो इफ इट इज नॉट दैट मेथड तो देन द मिनिमम 1 year लॉक-इन पीरियड इज टू बी ऑब्जर्व्ड फॉर द अलॉटमेंट, आई मीन फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ अलॉटमेंट. 1 साल तक लॉक इन पीरियड है, उसको ना ही आप बेच सकते हो ना ही आप उसको ट्रेड कर सकते हो. Company has to fulfill any and every provision which is laid down by the SEBI, where the regulations for having the transactions are given as per the Act 2014. Furthermore, the company has to get the approval of the shareholders again with special resolution, that is more than 75% of the shareholders agreeing for ESPS, that is Employee Stock Purchase Scheme, to be exercised. Now moving to the next type, that is SARS, Stock Appreciation Right Scheme. अब stock appreciation, under the scheme the employees are given a right to receive the appreciation in the value of the specified number of shares the company is going to have in the future date sold. So यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है, एम्प्लॉयज को राइट दिया हुआ है टू हैव एन अप्रिसिएशन, हायर प्राइस रिसीव्ड फॉर द नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स that they would be having in the future. So under the scheme, employees are given the right to receive appreciation, higher value in the value of specified number of shares of the company on the future date or in the future. Furthermore, this is a form of bonus compensation given to the employees if the company performs well and if the market prices go up. तो यहाँ पर it's like you already had some shares on your name but you are an employee and the company says कि okay, आप already हमारे equity shareholders हो but you are also an employee and out of that token of appreciation your मेहनत has helped us grow. Out of that appreciation, what are we doing? We are going to have the value appreciated for certain number of shares that you already hold. So ऐसा नहीं है कि आगे जाकर प्राइस बढ़ेगा तो वो वाले शेयर्स आप खरीदोगे तो डिस्काउंट में खरीदने देंगे. They are saying that the shares of specific number का काउंट का वैल्यू जो है हम उससे ज्यादा वैल्यू करके आपके शेयर्स को देते हैं. So it's only for the existing employees. And then we need to understand the last category, that is sweat equity shares. What is this? These are those shares which are issued by a company to its directors or the employees but at a discount, or maybe for a consideration, but this time this consideration is not the cash. It is issued in recognition of their valuable contribution to the company, which has resulted in increased profits. So you are working as a director or maybe you are an employee. You are given a chance to have the shares, but this time you are having it at a discounted price but in consideration to something but not the cash. This is just a way of thanksgiving that you've been working hard and it's because of your efforts that the company has been performing great. So these are the 4 various ways in which offerings, I repeat for the students who missed out this, hi Indian gamer, काफी लेट हो गया तुमको. Anyway, for all those students who've missed out, let me tell you all that we are actually talking about offerings of the shares not to the existing equity shareholders but to the employees. तो गलती से यहाँ पर equity shareholders आ गया है. Please understand it is employees. Now we would understand that these sweat equity shares also will have a lock-in period and the highest lock-in period, that is the 3 years ka lock-in period. Cool. These shares are going to be at par with the equity shareholders. तो अभी तक हम लोगों ने जो एम्प्लॉयज को ऑफर किया था या जो करंट इक्विटी शेयरहोल्डर्स को ऑफर किया था, we saw a lot of differences. Like they are not given bonus, they are not given any kind of voting rights or any kind of rights with respect to dividend unless and until they are purchased or ye wo. So there are a lot of conditions, only then it will be considered similar to that of the equity shares. But यहाँ पर क्या हो रहा है, they are from the day they are issued considered at par, equivalent to, with same rights with the equity shares. So sweat equity shares are those equity shares which are made available to the existing employees and they stand with the same rights as the equity shares. Moving to the fourth type of issue method, that is private placement. Privately. What happens privately here? When we are talking about private placements, basically nothing is happening privately. But what is happening is it is issued by those companies when a company offers its securities to a select group of people, not more than 200. So those companies who are having the issue happening but are not going to have the issue happening for more than 200 people, then it is called as private placement. In other words, company offers its securities only to the identified persons and not to the general public. So जिन लोगों को वो जानते हैं, पहचानते हैं, only to those people they are going to make the offerings. The board of directors select or identify the persons to be included in this group. So who's going to decide कि किसको मिलना चाहिए, किसको नहीं मिलना चाहिए? Of course, it's going to be the board of directors. The company has to issue private placement after having an application made to the ROC, registrar of the companies. The shares offered can be fully or partly paid up, and the consideration should be paid by check or the demand draft or any other method, but cannot be done by cash. So cash पे करके नहीं होने वाला है. वही पॉइंट जो प्रीवियस वाले में भी हमने पढ़ा था, nothing for cash, something other than cash, which could be check, demand draft or anything. And then last but not the least, right to renegotiation is not given to the applicants under private placement. यहाँ पर they are not allowed to take a call on transferability on their own. Why are they not allowed? Of course, because 200 से ज़्यादा लोगों को हम इसमें इन्वॉल्व नहीं कर सकते हैं, तो आप अपने हिसाब से ट्रेडिंग नहीं कर सकते. You need the consent. It's not at free will. Transferability is not at free will. That is how we understand private placement. Further, there are two things that you need to understand. One, the right issue. We discussed the same when we were talking about offering to the existing equity shareholders. Now, the point is that private placement may be right issue is going to remain the same. Furthermore, we are talking about preferential allotment, जहाँ पर the company issues specified securities. That is, equity shares or the securities that can be converted into equity shares in the future. I reread for you all. Issuing of specified securities, that is what, of course, equity shares that can be converted into equity shares in the future to the select group of persons on preferential basis, that is preferential allotment. Preference दिया जाएगा. So if you know preference shares की जब हम बात कर रहे थे, तो then there was a possibility of converting the shares into equity shares. वैसे ही equity shares or any of the securities which are allowed to be converted, of course with the consent coming from the people, then we say it is preferential allotment. allotment. Usually, the company offers preferential allotment to the promoters of the company, to the existing shareholders of the company, to the employees of the company, to the venture capitalists. And with this, I would like to conclude that the shares which are issued under preferential allotment are not given voting rights. ये तो हम सबको पता ही है कि नहीं? Preferential shares do not have any kind of votings as the equity shareholders. Harsh. So this is how we have completed the LOs for today. Oh, one last thing that you need to remember is approval of the shareholders in the form of special resolution is required. Like I was talking here, no, that there has to be an approval, only then it can be allotted. So यहाँ पर भी याद रखना है that there has to be a special resolution, and this special resolution is nothing but more than 75% of the people agreeing to the decision. So अगर 75% से ज़्यादा लोगों ने हाँ बोला तो बढ़िया है, नहीं बोला तो then it will not be exercised. With this, I would now like to bring this to your notice. If you've really understood the entire session, and if you've been a part of the entire session right since the beginning, then I would only want you to experience one simple thing. That is, please try and be a part of Vedantu's interactive live sessions where we teach, where we test you for the quizzes, and not just that, but also we make the entire syllabus covered for you in all those sessions. Along with that, we clear all your doubts live instantly in the class. We also give you assignments to be practiced, and we get you prepared for your exams. This is how you are going to improve your percentages. So if you really feel कि हाँ ये सब कुछ अच्छा है तो फटाफट एनरोल करो. अब इन सब के रहते आप एक चीज तो भूल गए कि कभी छुट्टी मार ली, कभी इंटरनेट काम नहीं किया, कभी कुछ. So under those circumstances, if in case you miss out a particular class, if you require some chapter which is not being conducted in the routine batches, आप उससे आगे या पीछे का कोई चैप्टर पढ़ना चाहते हो, तो under such circumstances, all you need to do is enroll. Do not subscribe, but enroll for the micro courses. Now, when I talk about micro courses, why did I say not required to subscribe, but you can enroll is because once you subscribe for the regular long term, your Vedantu's interactive sessions, सारे के सारे micro courses come free of cost to you. आप एक सब्जेक्ट का एक चैप्टर देखो, आप सारे सब्जेक्ट के सारे चैप्टर्स वापस पढ़ लो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, कोई तुमको टोकेगा नहीं, कोई तुमको रोकेगा नहीं. And that's where I am talking about the thousands of micro courses at your fingertips, free. चलो, ये तो सब था about what we offer to you bits and parts में. Let's have a complete summary. Anybody who is really interested and wants to choose a plan, you have two plans right in front of you, light and a classic. A light plan is going to give you interactive sessions. It's going to help you understand the sessions, clear your doubts, your assignments, your tests and mock tests, and a lot of practices. Apart from this, if in case कभी आपको VRs में कुछ doubt वगैरह आता है, तो you will have to hold on till you meet the teacher in the revision sessions. But my student who's opted for a classic plan will not have to wait. Please make a note, 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Anything, any subject that you've enrolled for. If you have a doubt, you can post in your doubt and you are going to get the answer to your doubt. You will not have to wait for your teacher to be met in the revision sessions. That's the major difference between the two plans, the light and the classic one. अब सवाल उठता है, what is the price? So price तो आपके सामने है ही, लेकिन आपके सामने मैं भी हूँ. So when I am here, do not fear. Let's use the coupon code SHEPRO and understand that this code and that link in the description box is going to have you a discounted price. So by using this coupon code, when you get yourself subscribed, you would be only and only ending up paying a price which is less by 10%. तो देर किस बात की, फटाफट दौड़ो, फटाफट फटाफट. बट ऑल्सो आई वुड लाइक टू इन्फॉर्म यू ऑल दैट भाई ये चैप्टर खत्म नहीं हुआ, पिक्चर अभी बाकी है. कीप योर सेल्फ ट्यून्ड इन, लाइक करो, शेयर करो, सब्सक्राइब करो, एंड अगली क्लास में जरूर मिलो. Until then, this is your master teacher signing off for today with your chapter number 3 issue of shares. Thank you so much and take care.